Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a really quick kind of acne hack video, I would say, on how I have been covering up my acne scars and spots lately. I have done a couple videos on how I've covered up intense acne scarring from the last spout of acne that I had, but I thought I'd do an updated one because I have been getting a lot of you guys asking how I've been covering up my spots, like my intense acne breakouts and scarring in my previous videos, like more updated routine. So I thought I would listen to you guys and actually do that for you. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Wow. So first things first, I like to prime to neutralize the skin. So there's different primers that do different things. I sometimes use like a mattifying primer if I want mattified skin, but for this purpose of the routine, like this kind of makeup look where I want to have flawless looking skin and cover these like breakouts and things on my face, I want something that's going to like take that redness out of it a little bit, which is this guy right here. It's my self-adjusting complexion primer from Urban Decay. I've used this in a few videos. I swear it's my ride or die. It's so good to neutralize any redness on the skin. It takes the anger out of your breakouts, the angry like redness. And for me, 1 to 1.5 pumps will do me good with this primer, just because I find if you use too much, it actually can start to like leave a little bit of like crustiness on the skin. So I prefer to just use 1 pump to 1.5, like I said, to cover all the spots that I need to, and bring it down my neck a little bit to cover little, like, you know, these little breakout scars and stuff. So now that the skin is all neutralized, we're going to go in with the color corrector concealer part of the routine. Ooh, a little bit bright for you there. What I've been doing to change it up a little bit, I try not to do too many products on my skin. If you saw in my how to cover acne breakouts and scars and things with drugstore products, I used a fair bit of product on my skin, and it just looked, I look back on it and I think it just looked too cakey. At the time I was like super impressed because I'd full covered up all my acne scars, like that was the goal at the time. But now for my skin, I just prefer to have something that doesn't look so thick on my face, so I try to use less products but more concealing products. So I'll kind of use a couple different things depending on what my skin needs. With this one up here, I'm going to use a color corrector because I just feel it needs something to kind of reduce down and correct this redness. Whereas with my scars and, you know, the few breakouts on my skin, I'm going to use an eye primer concealer. So I'm going to use the MAC Paint Pot eye primer as my concealer just for these little spots here, to add a little bit more coverage and cancel out that redness because they aren't so angry like this one here. So I'm going to just take my finger. I just find it best applying it with my finger. I know the whole bacteria thing isn't great, but probably should follow that like idea more, because that's probably why I'm breaking out so much, because I use my fingers so much with products. I'm just going to blend that into the skin. I just found lately, for a full coverage look without having to apply too much product, this eye primer is amazing. And I just think an eye primer is a bit more concealing than a concealer. Like, it's a bit more tacky, so it sticks longer. That's what I've just found in my experience, especially because I just find over the day that they start to fade. Like the makeup will start to fade over those spots, and I can see the redness peeking through on my skin again. So I just like to apply a little bit extra coverage, and with this eye primer I find it lasts longer. It just stays, it doesn't crease, it doesn't crack, it doesn't cling to any dry patches. And the trick with this as well is not to try and conceal up the whole breakout or scar. You want to just apply a little bit over, a thin amount, like a tiny amount, but keeping that thin layer will help to stop the cakiness. If you have a thick layer sitting on your skin, it will cake up and look really obvious. So as you can see, I've just applied it to, you know, the main scarring and breakouts. I did the most to this one here because it was quite pigmented. I did one there, like you could see over my face there's little patches of that eye primer, and it doesn't really matter that it's not the exact same colour as my skin because we're just going to apply foundation over the top, which is also why I like to apply it first before foundation, I'm also going to conceal this one, don't worry. But I just wanted to kind of cover those up. Also, it stops me applying too much foundation over those areas because I'm just trying to build it up, trying to conceal those breakouts, and then it ends up being cakey. Now with this next product that we're going to use, you probably recognize it in my other acne covering video where I have, this was my best friend, I used a lot of this. Now I don't tend to use as much, I just use a thin amount because I just think the green slightly pokes through if you use too much. So I grab again some on my finger and I just apply it to the really angry breakouts. So just a thin amount, and I'll blend, again using the same technique, blend the edges, try not to take too much coverage away from that breakout. So you can see it's slightly got that green tinge, but that'll be easily covered up with our foundation. So next I'm going to take a pretty full coverage foundation, probably not anything crazy, but I like to use this one from Airborne, the Perfecting Liquid Foundation. It also has SPF 15, so it's good for sun protection as well. And I like this because it's a non-toxic foundation. I've done a review which goes into all the information about it, but I just think it's a healthier foundation for your skin. It's full coverage. It can be medium to full, so you can have a medium coverage, but you can build it up to be a full coverage as well, which I like that because I want a bit more control, because some areas I don't want as full coverage. I want it to look more natural, and in other areas I want it to be like a little bit more full coverage on my face, you know. I'm just high maintenance like that. And I just squeeze it on the back of my hand, just one pump for now. And again, going in with my fingers, you're probably like, honey, the reason why you have so many breakouts is because you use your fingers. Probably. Sorry about the lighting change, guys. It is windy and cloudy outside. And I'm going to take a kabuki brush now and just blend out the foundation. You can still see a little bit of that one poking through. I might just apply a little bit more coverage to these areas around the jawline here where I do have my breakouts and scarring, just a smidgen more. And I'm going to take a tapered kabuki brush this time, and I'm just feathering out that product. So instead of having the flat top that we had before, this tapered one allows me to do a little bit more precision. But again, like, this is a quick routine, so if you can't be bothered, then just go in with your beauty sponge or, you know, foundation brush and just blend it a little bit more coverage over those breakouts. And that's it. That's basically as much coverage as I apply. I don't want a cakey layer of foundation, so I only go in with a little bit more product on top, trying just to keep it more like silky skin looking rather than just like a cake base all over the face. Okay, so next thing is powder. You can use a powder foundation. I like to use this one because it's a more natural brand. I've done a review, so I'll let you guys check that out if you would like to see more information. This is just better for the skin. It's not got any of the nasty toxins and things in it. I like the coverage it provides. Sorry about the dirty mirror. It's in the shade Nude, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. So it's similar to my skin tone. I want a pressed powder that is almost the same, basically. It's the same shade as my skin, so that doesn't highlight the areas that we're going to apply the powder to, which will be generally the breakout areas. If you have a powder that's too light, it's going to highlight those areas and actually emphasize your breakouts. So just keep that in mind, which powder you do end up using. So taking a dry beauty sponge, I'm just going to press, not swipe, not blend, just press that powder into the breakout areas and around my nose too. Side note, this is also a fantastic technique to blur your pores, and like I said before about mattifying this textured breakout up here, having it matte will draw less attention to it than if it was glossy or highlighted. So if you do have quite textured, broken out, acne kind of skin, I don't recommend a dewy, glowy foundation just because it's going to highlight your breakouts so much. I've actually been preferring a more matte foundation routine. Like, yeah, I'm an oily skin girl, but I used to apply like a lot of highlighter, and actually that did me no favours with the texture on my skin when it's been quite bad. So yeah, I can do it when my skin's a lot more clearer, there's not as much texture to it, but at the moment I stick to a more matte routine, so I actually don't apply highlighter to my skin. I actually prefer to keep it matte. Next is the crucial step. Am I too bright for you guys? I think that's better. So next is the crucial step, which is the setting spray. This will lock your makeup in place all day. I really like the Kat Von D one. Actually, you know what I really do like is the Urban Decay All Nighter, but I've currently run out of that one at the moment. And I do like this one. It smells like cucumbers, so it's a nice little refreshing hit in the morning. But I just do a few spritzes of this one. And of course you want to kind of just get a bit of airflow to it to lock it in. Oh, it's so refreshing. Oh my god. This was my favourite part of my makeup routine in summer, because it just like cools you down, especially with the sun just beaming through the window. It's just like a nice little spritz to the face. It's just everything. And just with me, I like to focus it in my general acne area to make sure I'm locking that part in the most, you know. Okay guys, so I've just quickly applied some concealer around my eyes. I'll quickly finish off the rest of my face makeup so you guys can see what it looks like with, you know, a full base done. I'm not going to bother doing my eyes, I don't think. I'll just do a base for you guys. But I just want you to see like how it's looking now before I apply bronzer, blush and all that jazz to my skin. It's just so much more concealed, and it's not full cakey coverage. It's just a nice full coverage but still looks like your natural skin, just a little bit more enhanced. When I say a little bit, it's a bit more full glam, let's say that. As you can see, it's covered up the scarring and acne that I've wanted it to. If you do have a little bit of texture on your skin, you can do a little trick where you grab a little like brow slash eye kohl and just apply that to the skin, like a little faux freckle kind of thing, just to the breakout on like the head, to kind of pass it off as like a beauty mark, like something like that, rather than it actually being acne. I was a fan of that before, but now I actually just don't really mind. Like the texture is going to be there, it's not a big thing. As long as like the redness and the angriness is concealed, then I'm kind of happy with the texture on my skin. Like it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's up to you. So that is a trick you can do if you aren't comfortable with having the texture on your skin. Like you've concealed up the redness but the texture is still there, you can apply a couple faux freckles here and there. You're good to go, honey. So this here is the full base done with blush, bronzer, contour, everything like that. As you can see, I've left it matte because like I was saying, like I just don't want much of a glow anymore. Like I do still do that if I'm looking for a more glam look, but an everyday acne coverage routine, I want it to be a bit more matte. If you would like to check out my previous acne coverage routines for a more full coverage look, like I'm thinking like next level full coverage, then I'll leave it linked down below in the description for you guys, as well as my other acne coverage routines. Like I have so many different ones, more natural, more full coverage, more glam, more like everyday, if you would like to check them out. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. If you did like it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you have any requests for my future videos, make sure to leave them linked down below in the comments section. Sorry, I had a little bit of brain fart just then. So I know what you guys want to see in my upcoming tutorials and videos. Otherwise, have an amazing day, guys. I love you all so much, and I'll see you soon.